All right, all right. We give praise and esteem to Yah for His word and His Son Yahushua HaMashiach. Well, let's jump to Psalms 23. I know many of us probably done read this before, but we're going to look at something, just a small piece of it. And we're going to go from there. 23rd Psalm. It say, Yahuah is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me.
Children.
Thy rod and thy staff, they shall comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Yahuah forever. Alright. So what we're going to be looking at is us dwelling in the house of Yahuah forever. So let's start right there and let's go to John chapter 15. Alright. And we're going to look at verse 4. So we're looking at dwelling in the house of Yahuah forever. We're going to relate that back to tabernacles and understanding that us dwelling in his house forever is a similitude of us living in these booths, because we know the booth is just a temporary dwelling or a tent, and we looking to abide in a permanent dwelling that Yah willing we will be able to receive when we enter into his house to abide forever. So let's pick up at John chapter 15 verse 4. It says, abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine. No more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine and ye are the branches. He that abideth in me and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered. And men gather them up and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. Alright. Verse 7, it say, if ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask that what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein my Father is esteemed, that ye bear much fruit, so ye shall be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandment and abide in his love. Alright, so we come in here to look at us dwelling in the house and forever. We have to abide in him, and he has to abide in us so we can bring forth much fruit. The key thing we're looking at here is, as the Father have loved me, so I have loved you. Continue in my love. One thing we're looking at that here is understanding that for you to dwell in his house and for you to abide forever, you got to have the love of Elohim in you. And what is the love of Elohim? Anybody know what the love of Elohim is? Let's look at it. Let's go to 1 John chapter 4. That we keep his commandments. 1 John chapter 4. And let's go to about verse 12. It says, verse 11. Beloved, if Elohim so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No man has seen Elohim at any time. If we love one another, Elohim dwell in us, and his love is perfected. So for us to abide in him and him in us, and for us to dwell in him, we must have his love perfected in us. It says, hereby now we know that we dwell in him and he in us, because he has given us his Ruach. And he have seen and do testify that the Father sent the Son to be the Savior of this world. So this is what we're looking at. It say, we know that we dwell in him and he in us because he hath given us his Ruach. So the key to understanding that to abide in his house, you got to have a Ruach. You got to have the Spirit. And to kind of go into what we talked about last night about taking on that yoke in your youth and understanding that you having that Spirit is you being able to overcome all temptations and all the trials and tribulations that come forth. Because him giving you that ruach is what's going to give you the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to be able to save your soul through your faith. Alright. At verse 14 it says, we have seen and do testify that the Father has sent the Son to be the Savior of the world. Whosoever shall confess that Yahushua is the Son of Elohim, Elohim dwelleth in him, and he in Elohim. And it say, we have known and believed the love that Elohim had to us. Elohim is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in Elohim, and Elohim in him. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. So we looking at that love that we have for the Mashiach is going to allow him to dwell in us and us in him. But we got to understand that the love of the Mashiach is keeping his commandments. We're going to continue to read verse 8. It says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. We love him because he loved us first. Alright? So when we go back to it saying that he that fears is not made perfect in love, that go back to what we looked at earlier this week about if you fearful, you in disbelief. Because we as believers, as we say we have faith in him, we believe in him, we should have no fear. Because if we have fear, that means our faith is not made perfect. That means our love is not made perfect. That means we are not one with him. Alright? At 20 it said, if a man may say I love Elohim and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love Elohim who he have not seen? And this commandment we have from him, that he who loveth Elohim love his brother also. Alright? So let's start right there. And we're going to go and look at an example of this. We got to look at an example of that love. And we got to look at how that love is going to be made perfect through us loving our brother as we love ourselves and treating each other how we want to be treated. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 19, verse 2.
Sit down.
Alright. 2 Chronicles chapter 19, verse 2. Alright, let's look at this. It says, Jehu the son of Hananiah the seer went out to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, shouldest thou help the ungodly and love them that hate Yahuah? Therefore is wrath upon thee from before Yahuah. Nevertheless, there are good things found in thee, in that thou hast taken away the groves out of the land, and hast prepared thine heart to seek Elohim. So we came here to look at this key verse. He said, should thou help the ungodly and love them that hate Yahuah? So when we look at that, we say that his love is made perfect if we love our neighbor that as we love ourselves. But we got to understand what true love is. A lot of us don't really understand that it's different than just saying that you love somebody. And this love that we have is supposed to be towards one another. The love that we have as a unified unit in the body of the Mashiach. So it's asking, how can you help the ungodly and love them that hate Yahuah? And it's going to go back to who is my father, who is my brother, who is my mother, but those that do the will of Elohim. So we got to understand that us being in this walk, the love that we have for each other is what's going to help perfect our love towards Elohim, that he can abide in us. That means we have to keep each other strengthened. We have to keep the love amongst each other. Family, people who are outside the word, or the unjust or the ungodly, people who we know that don't believe this word and don't follow this word how we follow this word, they look at as the unjust or the wicked. So you can't look at somebody because they've been in your life all this time, your family, people who close to you that you feel like you've known all your life. If they're not dwelling in the love of the Mashiach or keeping his commandments or are in this walk like we just read, John say, they not in the love of Elohim. And they say, how can you love Elohim? And how can you love someone who hate Elohim? How can you love the ungodly? Because you say you can't serve two masters. You're going to love one and hate the other. So if you're trying to still hold on and love those people that you know don't love Elohim, at the end of the day, you're going to end up hating Elohim, because you're going to, at the end of the day, cleave to those people who you have that love for, and you're going to hate Elohim. Alright, and that's what you got to understand. And you can't feel like those people love you because they say they love you and because they do this and do that for you, because we just read that if somebody really love Elohim, they're gonna hold you accountable. So are they allowing you to commit ungodly deeds? Are they allowing you to live in your flesh? Are they rebuking you? Are they making sin suffer upon you? Are they suffering sin upon you? When I say that, are they allowing you to do things that are contrary to the word? Are they co-signing things that are contrary to the word? Or will they do things with you that you know are contrary to the word? All these things, all of the above, equal that they don't have a love for Elohim. And if you partake in those things, and if you condone those things, you don't have the love of Elohim in you either. Because that's what we just read with Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, he sought him and prepared our heart to seek Elohim. But at the end of the day, you willing to compromise the word to do things with people who you feel like you got love for because they family. And we can't fall in that. Because if we going to abide in this man's house forever, we have to be set apart. Because when he come and sanctify those things and take those treasured vessels into his house, that's going to abide forever. You can't be accounted and be counted with things that's of this earth, because everything on the earth gonna perish. All right, so let's look at that. Let's look at another example of that. Let's look at 1 Kings chapter 11. We're gonna see somebody that did the same exact thing. All right, we're gonna go to 1 Kings chapter 11. We're gonna probably just read it from the top. Hold on. All right, we at 1 Kings chapter 11 at the top. It say, but King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, the Zidonians, and the Hittites, and the nations concerning which Yahuah said unto the children of Yasharal, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come into you, for they will surely turn your heart away after other gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. See that? So it showed forth that this man didn't have his love perfected towards Elohim, because he loved his wives more than he loved Elohim, because he was willing to transgress the commandment that Yah gave for his wives. And you see how people close to you, not just family, not just kids, but spouses, anybody close to you, that could, you have more love for them than you have for Elohim. Because guess what? These women, they was going to allow Solomon to do what Solomon wanted to do. Whatever Solomon wanted to do, they was going to allow him to do that. And he loved them for that, because they didn't hold him accountable as a man of Elohim. And he's a king, so we know where the mouth of the king at, it should be power. And they taking this man power because they don't love Yah. And therefore, since he loved them, he don't love Yah. And that's why he had to be punished. So you got to look at the same way people around us can cause us to go astray and not love Yah. You can't have love for them. And it's hard to say, and that's a hard thing to grasp. But you got to grasp that if you think you're going to abide in this man's house forever. Because guess what? He going to put you in situations where he going to try you and see if your love is really for him, or if your love is really for people who don't have love for him, or people that hate him. All right? And that's what you got to be conscious of. Look, sit down right here. And don't get up. And close your mouth. Close your mouth. Didn't I say hush? Hush your mouth. Hush. Alright. So let's look at that. Let's jump to Revelation 3:19. Because it's easy to say you love him, but he gonna try you and see if you really do. Because if he don't try you and see if you really do, you gonna skate by and thinking that he not gonna hold you accountable and see where your head at. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3 and let's jump to verse 18. Matter of fact, let's jump to verse 18. It say, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in fire, that thou mayest be rich. Alright. So when y'all see that, he say gold tried in fire, that thou mayest be rich. How you gonna get that gold that's tried in the fire, and how is it gonna make you rich? Close your mouth. How is that gonna make you rich? That gold making you rich? Or you being tried, how is that gonna make you rich? Your favorite is more pure than gold. Let's look and see what it say. How you being tried or getting that gold tried in fire is gonna make you rich. Let's go to James chapter 1 and 12. James chapter 1 verse 12. This is what it say. It say, blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life which Yahuah has promised to them that love him. Right? So now we're looking at it. You're going to get rewarded. You're going to be rewarded when you try and you overcome. You're going to get a crown of life, and it's only going to be given to them that love him. Close your mouth. Go get your cup then. So it's only going to be given to those that love him. You're only going to receive that treasure. You're only going to receive that goal that's tried if you are tried and you receive that crown of life. That's your goal, and that's your end goal that you're trying to receive, that crown of life, by being tried. And he going to try to see if you love you. He's going to try you to see if you love him by the temptations and tribulation that you're going to endure. All right. Let's go back to Revelations 3. Let's finish reading that. So that gold that you buying is what you done paid for by being tried and you overcoming, right? And then with that, what you being tried and you overcoming, you gonna get the second part of that. What it say is, we're 18, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment that thou mayest be clothed, that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thy eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. So now we're going to look at it from another aspect, because we know that the love for him that you have is you enduring temptation and you keeping his commandments. And you showing that same love towards your brother, not suffering sin upon your neighbor, and allowing your brother, or allowing Elohim to chasten you so that you can become a son. Right? It say, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. Because if he not chastening you and he not reproving you and trying to refine you, that means he don't really love you and he really not trying to call you out of your sin. And that's the difference between knowing people in your life who really love you. Because guess what? People who really love you is not going to let you do stuff that's contrary. They're not going to put you in a position where you are going to be in sin. And we can look at back and look at our life, especially how our parents have raised us. It was a lot of stuff, and we talked about this the other day. It's a lot of stuff our parents allowed us to do that they probably should have nipped in the bud, you know, so that later on in life we wouldn't be doing things outside the word or contrary to the word. Now, we're not going to say that they allowed us to do them things because they didn't love us, because they might have didn't know, but it's still the same thing. Because if you don't have the knowledge of Elohim and you don't really know what love is, how can you love somebody else? How can you love your kids? How can you love your wife? How can you love your brother? And it already said, if you don't love your brother, you don't love Elohim. So whether you have the knowledge or not, it's all up to you, because that means you weren't seeking Elohim. Because if you sought Elohim, you will have an understanding of what love is and how to show it to your spouse, to your son, to your daughter, to your neighbor, to your brother. Elohim show love, and he know how to show love, because he just say, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. So we know off top, love is tightening you up, making sure that you on track, making sure that you're not going to do nothing out the way that's going to allow you to be outside of this man's word, because he doing that because he love us. And we see the wicked prosper because he not chastening them, because he doesn't want them. He doesn't see them as a son. He doesn't really love them. And why does he don't love them? Because they hate him. He say, them that hate me, I'm going to hate them to their face too. So we see that. So how you going to love somebody that you know hate y'all and think that you're not going to get the same punishment as them? And like we talked about when we talked about Phineas the other day. I mean, not Phineas, when we talked about the wicked sons of Aaron, who was out there in the wilderness burning them incense. And he told Aaron, don't you shed a tear. Because they hate me, because what? They go outside of my word and do what they ought not. And now they got to face that punishment. You sitting here crying for them. Do you love them more than keeping the law and keeping my righteousness and keeping my word? You can't. And that's the same thing. If our mother, brother, sister, anybody that's close to us have to face the wrath of Elohim, you can't shed a tear for that, because that's what they deserve. Then you saying that his judgment not just. You got to understand that. You got to look at that. You got to have your heart firm on that. You got to have your heart firm on that, because they really don't love y'all. Because if they love y'all, they'll be sitting right next to you doing it with you, showing forth that they want what you want. Because if we say we want to abide in the house forever, we got to do what we got to do to abide in that house. That means we got to love one another, hold each other accountable. And when we get tried, we need to lean on his love and show forth that we love him and not ourselves, or not this world more than we love him. Anything in this world, ain't nothing in this world worth going to hell for and not getting that eternal life. We say that's what we're doing. If we really not trying to get eternal life, we can just do what we want to do and just hang it up. Nah, that's not what we saying we want. And that's what we got to look at. Because he going to try you and see. We at verse 20 though. Just keep reading. And say, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come to him and I will sup with him and he with me. That go back to what I was just saying. As far as people in our life who haven't had the knowledge of how to love, is because they have not knocked. They have not sought that. Because what they seeking out, they seeking the pleasure of their flesh. They seeking to do what they want to do, live how they want to live. And then on the back burner wonder why they don't know how to love and they don't know how to provide and they don't know how to be a steward of Elohim. Because they say they want to do it, but they don't put forth the effort. It say at 21, it say, to him that overcome, I will grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and I am set down in my Father in his throne. He that have ear, let him hear what the Ruach has to say to the assembly. So we seeing here that you coming to sit with him is what? You coming to dwell in the house. You coming to sit down in the house. That's what we just read at the beginning. He said, I will dwell in the house of Yahuah forever. I'll come sit down. You can go sit down and have your rest. Because you done overcame everything. You done did everything you need to do. You done put in that work. And you got that crown. And you can be confident in that. And that's the confidence you got to have. Now let's go look at another example though. Let's look at, hold on. Get this right. Let's look at another example of how we really don't love and how that affect.
Yeah, don't play with her.
Let's go to
Stop hitting me.
Proverbs chapter 7 verse 3. We'll go to Proverbs 17 verse 3, and then we're gonna go to 2 Samuel 7 and 12. So Proverbs 17. Alright. Proverbs 17. And we're going to go to verse 3. It says, the finding pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, but Yahuah trieth the hearts. So that's going back to what we just read in Revelations about him trying your heart and refining you like silver and putting that heat on you like gold so you can come back refined. So when we look at that, I want us to take a look at 2 Samuel chapter 7. Alright. 2 Samuel chapter 7. Alright, let's jump down to verse 12. It say, when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up a seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. Who he talking to? So we can get that situated. He called him King David. All right. He said, he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever, and I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. So let's come back. So we know that he talking about David, and he talking about his seed that's going to establish and build this house. So who is that seed that's supposed to establish and build this house? Solomon, according to this text right here, Solomon, because Solomon ended up building the house of Elohim after that. But we know this is similitude of the Mashiach, because the Mashiach said, I go and prepare a place for you, for us. He said, in my father's house there are many mansions. If it was not so, I would not have told you. So he already told you that he's that same seed or that same descendant of David that has going to build this house to prepare for those who are going to come to abide in that house. We're looking at the same thing. But look what he said as that father and him being that son. So we're looking at David being the similitude of the father, and we're looking at Solomon being the similitude of the Mashiach. What was just said? He said, I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. That's going back to what we just read in Revelations, where he said, if you a son, I'm going to chasten you. So we seen that this same way Yahuah chastened Yahusha so that he can go and prepare and build the house and he can abide in him. We got to know that we taking on Yahusha, we going to abide in Yahusha. That means we going to have to suffer the same chastisement that he suffered, because he became sin. He became sin, and he had to suffer with the rod and the stripes of the children of men. He had to suffer that persecution, because guess what? When he came down here, even though he was born of the Ruach HaKodesh, he still was a man. And he had suffered the same stripes as a sinner. Because guess what? He had to die. Because the wages of sin is death. We already know we still gonna die, but when we die, we have that hope and faith that when we are raised from the dead, we are gonna go into that house and abide forever. So we know that he died so that he can go to prepare that house, so that we can go in that same house that he went and prepared, so we can abide forever. This is the same thing we looking at. And we looking at the key, the whole key is for us to abide in that house forever. We got to take that chastisement. We got to take that correction. And we can't be like Solomon. And that's why I went to Solomon first and show how Solomon was prophesied, or was it's saying that this is about Solomon building the house. But we see, what did Solomon do? Solomon ain't follow out the full thing as Yahushua did. Because guess what Solomon did? He ended up hating Elohim. He ended up hating Elohim. Yahushua became sin, but we know that was a perfection so that he can go prepare the house for us. Versus Solomon, he prepared the house and still ended up hating Elohim. It's the same thing we do when we take on this man's body and we say that this is what we want, and then we go back and we love anything else more than we love Elohim. You saying you want to get in the house, and you saying that you're preparing yourself, because that's what you're doing by sacrificing. When you sacrificing the things of this world, you preparing yourself to dwell in the house. You understand what I'm saying? You preparing yourself to dwell in that house by taking all of the sin and unrighteousness out of your mortal body, because sin and unrighteousness cannot dwell in the house of Allah. So when you don't purge those things and say that you want to get in the house, you're doing the same thing. You saying you love your flesh more than you love Elohim. You saying you love this world more than Elohim, and that means you hate him.
You gonna stand here, Mari.
And if you hate him, we already read that from the jump. We read John chapter 15. He said He's gonna burn you in the fire. If you don't abide in him and he in you, you got to get burnt in the fire. If you are not bringing forth the fruitfulness of righteousness, the fruitful works of righteousness, your branches are going to be withered and you're going to be cast into the fire. So it's one or the other, and that's what we got to understand. All right, let's go to 1 Peter. We're going to go to 1 Peter chapter 7.
Chapter 7.
Okay, 1 Peter chapter 7. I meant chapter 1 verse 7. My bad. Appreciate it.
No.
We have 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 7. Alright. It says that the trial of your faith, being more precious than gold that perishes, though it be tried by fire, it might be found unto the praise and honor and esteem at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach. Going right back to what we read in Revelations, going right back what do we see in Proverbs. That gold and that you buy is you being refined. What are you buying it? What are you purchasing that with? You purchasing that gold and you purchasing that refinement by the sacrifices that you're making. Giving up people in your life, giving up sin, and giving up those things that's going to separate you from the love of Elohim. We're looking at this because that is what he's trying to see when he appears. He say, though it be tried by fire, it might be found unto praise and honor and esteem at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach. He's trying to see who has bought that gold, see who has sacrificed their life so that they can be a treasure to him, be gold to him. Because what he going to do with the gold, he going to take it, he going to put it in the house. He going to take that gold and put it in the house because it's been separated. It's been separated from the vessels of dishonor. It's been separated from things that perish. Let's look at that. We read that last night when we talked about taking on that yoke. Let's go to 2 Timothy. I think that's 2 Timothy chapter 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 2. Yeah, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 20. So it say, but in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also wood and earth, and some to honor and some dishonor. Let's look at that. So we talk about vessels of gold and silver, and we talking about vessels of wood and earth. How do you make gold? Gold is refined. He got to put you in that furnace to make gold. Just like you melt the gold down and you make something else, you keep melting it down, you keep refining it. You understand? But guess what happened when you put that wood to that fire? You put that clay, that earth to that fire. It's going to burn up. You understand? That's why he's trying you. And you got to understand, in that house, it's vessels of gold and silver, and it's vessels of wood and earth. We already read what we're going to do with the vessels of wood and earth. That's the fuel for the fire. Because guess what? Silver and gold ain't going to fuel that fire because it ain't going to burn up. But guess what that wood and that earth gonna do when he put you in that fire? Them withered branches, that earth. That's all it is. It's gonna perish. Anything of the flesh is gonna perish because it don't have no life in it. You understand? This is what you gotta look at. This is what you gotta understand. 21 it says, if a man therefore purge himself of these, he shall be a vessel of honor, sanctified, set apart, and meet for the master's use, prepared for every good work. The master or the son is not finna take no vessels of dishonor into his father's house to store it, so that it abide forever. So you gotta understand, have you sanctified yourself or set yourself apart from anything that could cause you to be outside of this man's will, that when he try you, you gonna get burnt because you're not able to withstand. And that's the trial of your faith, being able to withstand them temptations, so that when he try you, he can find you worthy. When he rebuke you, you take your correction and you tighten up. Because that's what people don't want to do. They don't want to take that rebuke. They don't want to be around people that's going to rebuke them. They want to be around people that let them do what they want to do. And that's how you're going to see that us being set at variance between people that's in our own household and our own family. Because when we come around trying to teach and talk about doing what's right and tighten up, niggas don't want to hear that. Your people don't want to hear about you need to tighten up. You say you love me, when I tell you to tighten up, you get an attitude with me. Or it's a problem then. That's how you know they hate Elohim, because guess what? You bringing forth the fruit of Elohim by doing what's right. So you can be abiding him and be a branch and bring forth fruit. You bringing forth that fruit meat for repentance by trying to get them to repent and showing repentance through your lifestyle. But guess what? People who hate Elohim are going to hate you because you're doing what Elohim did, sacrifice. That's what we're looking at. So they not gonna want to get that rebuke. That mean they not gonna be a son of Elohim. That mean they not gonna take that chastisement, and that mean they don't love Elohim, and Elohim don't love them. So you can't be stuck around loving people that don't love Elohim. That's the point. Because we trying to get in the house, and if they left outside, they left outside, and I don't got no tip on them. All right, let's go back. What was that? Oh, he's at 2 Timothy. Matter of fact, we're done with that. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 2. Alright. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 2. And let's jump down to verse 12. It say, now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial, and they knew not Yahuah, and the priest's custom with the people was that when any man offered sacrifice, the priest's servants came, and while the flesh was seething or cooking with the flesh hook of 3 teeth in his hand, and he struck it into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot, all that the flesh hook brought up, so the priest took it for himself. So they did it at Shiloh unto all the Israelites that came there. And before they burnt the fat, the priest's servant came and said to the man that sacrificed, give flesh to roast for the priest, for he will not have side and flesh of thee, but raw. And if any man said unto him, let them not fall to burn the fat presently, and then take as much as thy soul desires, then he will answer him, nay, but thou shalt give it to me now, and if not, I will take it by force. So you see, they not doing the sacrifice correctly. They trying to do their own will. They taking the stuff by force. This is what the sons of Eli doing. Let's get to the point though. It say, therefore the sin of the young man was great before Yahuah, for men abhorred the offering of Yahuah. But Samuel ministered before Yahuah, being a child girded with the linen ephod. Moreover, his mother made him a little coat and brought it to him from year to year, and she came up with her husband to offer year to year. Matter of fact, let's jump down to... let's jump down to these songs. 22, I'm sorry. It said, now Eli was very old. We saw what they did. Let's see what Eli do. It said, Eli was very old and had heard all that his sons did unto all the Yasharal, and how they lay with the woman that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Not only are they not doing the sacrifices right, they sleeping with the women outside the temple. Alright? It said, and he said unto them, why do you do such things? For I hear your evil dealings by all this people. No, my sons, for it is not a good report that I hear. Ye make Yahuwah's people to transgress. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against Yahuah, who shall entreat him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because Yahuah would slay them. Now look, we see what Eli do. Now we already seen that if you a son, you gonna chastise him with the rod. We already read that. We read that in Revelation, and we read that when he was giving that, talking about Solomon, about him being chastised. If he do sin, he gonna chastise him with the rod and strike some men. Now we see Eli's son's wicked. Eli see what he doing, but what Eli say? Why did you do this? No, my sons, don't do that. He not reproving them. That's what he say. He say, I hear what you're doing. It's not good. You shouldn't do that. No, you feel me? You not reproving your son. That's like your kids doing something. You just keep telling them to stop. No, don't do that. That's not good. You gotta reprove them with the rod, because if you don't reprove them with the rod, you're not really showing forth your true love for them. But guess what? You're not purging that from them. You're not purging it by something saying, no, stop, don't do it. You can't do that. And that's the same thing we gotta think about when we chastise our children. Like the word telling us that when we do what's wrong, the word say you should not do this, you should not do that. But guess what? When we do stuff, he chastising us, right? He not saying don't do it. You getting punished for it. You gotta have that punishment. You gotta have that chastisement, because that's what's really gonna bring forth you purging that iniquity, and you bringing forth and being humble, because you gotta be chastised. That's how Yahushua was humble. He was humble by suffering them stripes of men and getting that rod put to him. And that's the same way we got to look at it with our kids. We got to purge that sin from our kids, because that's us loving them. You can't sit and say you love your child and they do wrong and you sit there and let them do it, talking about no, don't do it, and they go do it again, and you keep telling them the same thing over and over. That's not showing forth that you love them. A lot of us been raised like that though, and that ain't right. That's not really gonna purge that wickedness from that child. That's not you really showing that love. In the same way you would do that to the child, we saying that we sons and daughters of Elohim. Don't expect Elohim not to do that to you when you step out of line, and he not finna keep doing that, because he already said once you so far out of line, it's already on, the judgment already on you. Because that's what they said about his sons. What it said? I just read it. Hold on. They said they weren't here because what? It said, we at 25. It said, notwithstanding, they hearken not to the voice of their father, because Yahuah would slay them. Yahuah already had it on his mind that he was going to go ahead and take them up out of here, because he's not going to keep telling you the same thing over and over anyway. And that's what you getting your kids prepared for. You got to get them prepared to serve Elohim. You're not finna keep telling them over and over. And please don't think Elohim finna keep telling you the same thing. He going to wash his hands with you or bash you upside your head and be done with you and keep it moving. It's our job to put that in our kids and really show them that love, so they can show that love amongst their kids and to their friends or their brothers and sisters in his word. They continue to walk this walk, so they won't feel like they got fake friends that ain't gonna hold them accountable and not treat them how they want to be treated. This is how the cycle goes on. This is why we got weak men and women. We got weak kids, because the parents not teaching our kids that. We not getting that reproof and that chastisement, and we taking that on. We getting women. We marrying women and men who not keeping us accountable, letting us do what we want to do, and we choosing mates like that. And guess what? If you choose a mate that's not gonna hold you accountable and let you do what you want to do and run all over them, and you have kids with them, how you think they're gonna treat your child? Your child gonna be doing the same thing, running over his mama, running over their father, because you got a weak individual that's not gonna hold you accountable. That's what you gotta look at. The same way Yahushua hold us accountable, you gotta hold your kids accountable. It's the same thing. And we're looking at that in the word, because we see how when we don't do that, we don't manifest his love. Alright? Let's look at Malachi 3:3. Alright. It say in Malachi 3 verse 3, it say, he shall sit as a refiner and a purifier of silver. He shall purify the sons of Levi and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Yahuah an offering of righteousness. Alright. So it say, as a refiner or purifier of silver, he shall purify them. The sons of Levi. We already talked about this. What does Levi mean? To join, to be joined. So he's saying he shall purify the sons of those who are joined to Elohim and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Yahuah an offering of righteousness. Going back, right back to you offering or giving that gift up so that you can acquire the gold, so that you can be tried, so that you may get that white raiment, which is the righteousness of the saints, all white, so that you can be found worthy and set apart. So we're looking at that as you being purged. You being purged so that you can be gold and silver, so that you won't have to suffer the fate of those who are not going to be up and stand for righteousness. Alright? So, this is the last thing we want to look at. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 7. 1 Kings chapter 7. Alright. 1 Kings chapter 7. And let's go to verse 51. Alright. It say, so it was ended. Now we jumping forward from, we already read about him building the house. Now we jumping forward to it. It says, so at the end of all the work that King Solomon made for the house of Yahuah, Solomon brought in all the things that David his father had dedicated, even the silver, even the gold, and the vessels did he put among the treasures of the house of Yahuah. So we're going to look at it the same way. We already looked at David being the similitude of Yahuah being the father. So we said that Solomon brought in the things that David his father had dedicated. Let's look at that word dedicated. What y'all think that word dedicated is? You got a clue? The word dedicated is Kadash, or set apart. So we pretty much saying everything that David or Yahuah has set apart, Solomon is bringing it into the house that he built and prepared. We look at the same similitude of Yahushua being the same thing. It say, Yahuah, you are not a son if Yahuah don't take you in and chastise you. Yahuah show forth who is set apart. You got to be set apart through his son, so that when his son return and bring the vessels of gold and silver that's purged and refined into the house, that you can be brought forth into the house and be worthy among the treasures of the house of Yahuah. And it's the same thing going back to dwelling in the house of Yahuah forever. Only the treasures that have been purged, and only the sons and daughters that's been joined to Elohim have been purged and been tried, and that love Elohim with all their heart and all their mind and all their strength, are going to be those who are brought forth in as treasure goods to abide in the house forever. Y'all understand that? Alright, well, praise y'all for the word. Let's start right now.
All right, I got a question. Who has